this. We could stand on a street corner handing out dollar bills every second of every day, and it would still take about 558,000 years to pay off that $18 trillion. And that doesn't take into account interest.
Every year, taxpayers have to pay $300 billion in interest payments just to service the debt.
The Congressional Budget Office estimates interest payments will cost taxpayers almost $650 billion by 2020.
Yeah, 558,000 years. Where are we going to be then, I wonder? Where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? Joining us now is Stephen Moore, senior economics writer for the Wall Street Journal and chief economist for the Heritage Foundation. Hey, Stephen.
Hi, Steve. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Same to you. So, you know, this you wrote a great piece at National Review, The United States of Debt. And I got to tell you, this bill that was passed with the help certainly of McConnell and Boehner, disgraceful.
It is disgraceful. Let's start by talking about that bill. Now, what's disgraceful about it mostly is the process. I mean, what is the point? You know, they have a whole year to put a budget together. You know, they're like my 14-year-old teenager who waits to the last minute to do his homework. And then they pass this thing at the last minute, Steve, 1,600 pages. And I guarantee you there aren't more than 5 members of Congress who actually read that bill. And that is a disgrace because, you know, I thought Republicans said they were going to put an end to that. Now, look, this was Harry Reid's last budget, so this is his swan song, and Republicans have vowed to put an end to this, but it is disgraceful that that's the way we're budgeting. Now, on this $18 trillion debt, I just want to give you a statistic to think about, Steve. When I first came to Washington, in about 30 years ago exactly, early 1980s, the debt was less than $2 trillion. Now it's $18 trillion, and by the year 2020, it's going to be $20 trillion. I mean, what is wrong with this picture? We have been borrowing and borrowing. And by the way, it's happened under Republicans, Democrats, Republican Congress, Democratic Congress.
Right. Well, you wrote a piece. It doesn't matter whether Republicans or Democrats win. The national debt keeps rising.
Yeah. And by the way, you know, they're celebrating the fact that they've cut the budget deficit, all the way to $500 billion. I mean, my God, a $500 billion budgeting deficits a year. Now, what's the problem economically with this? Here's what really keeps me up at night, Steve. Those interest payments that you cited, those assume that we keep interest rates low. What happens if interest rates start to rise by 200 or 300 basis points? So instead of 2% interest rates, we have 4 or 5% interest rates, which would hardly be out of bounds in terms of historical averages. Then you're talking about interest payments that could hit $1 trillion a year.
Right, we can't catch up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a dog trying to chase its tail. And then you get into what's called a death spiral of debt, where you're just paying more and more and more taxes just to pay the interest on the debt. And that's happened in Argentina, Bolivia, Mexico, Russia, countries like that. And that story never has a happy ending.
And Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, but about a week or two ago, I saw the story that the Treasury is taking in more money than ever before. So it's certainly not a revenue problem, it's a spending problem.
Well put. I mean, when you have record amounts of debt and record amounts of revenue, then you're spending too much money. And look, we have cut a lot of the domestic discretionary spending. We've cut a lot out of defense. What we have not done, because Barack Obama and the liberals will not allow it to happen, we have not cut any of these big, massive income transfer programs.
All right. Well, you also wrote a piece at the Weekly Standard. The Democrats are doubling down while Republicans seize the opportunity. Do the Republicans have it in them? I mean, is this an indicator of I mean, this is going to fund the government through next September. I mean, that's outrageous to me, and I'm sure those who came out and voted in overwhelming numbers, a big landslide, for Republicans, for fiscal conservative policies and other policies, and Boehner and McConnell acted as if they lost.
Yeah. The point of my article in the Weekly Standard is that the Democrats have moved so far to the left, and they've moved way to the left since the election. I mean, the one thing the voters said in the election is, stop doing what you're doing. Stop with the spending and taxing and the debt and the regulating. And, of course, as soon as the election was over, the Democrats went on their merry way, and we've had, massive increases in regulations, 3,000 of them. Did you know this, Steve? 3,000 new regulations issued by Obama right before Thanksgiving.
I saw that story, and
Amazing.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
So they're not stopping. And my point was, Republicans have to go after the blue-collar, unionized vote and say, we're the ones who are trying to save your jobs by cutting the debt, by having, allowing our drilling to go forward, by building pipelines. And it's the Democrats who once stood with the working man who are now standing against the working man in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen, have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, whatever, and all of the above. And thank you, sir, for all you do for the show.
You too.
Take care. Stephen Moore, ladies.
Happy New Year. Take care.
Thank you. Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen. And it is outrageous. It is outrageous, and everybody's yawning right through it. They'll wake up one day. Online editor of the Weekly Standard, Daniel Halper, joins us next. Don't go away.